And good morning. Welcome to a special edition of It's How You'll Be Remembered. Today is the last day that we are celebrating National Business Etiquette Week, and I am not in my office. I am at the meeting place. I wanted to end our celebration of National Business Etiquette Week here at the meeting place because my friend Rob Bliss does such a great job of hosting events and making people feel warm and welcome. And he is a great role model for hospitality. And so I wanted to share this time with him. He's finishing a meeting now, and hopefully he'll be able to come and join us here in just a few minutes. But welcome. If you are catching this live, please be sure and let us know that you're here. Want to hear your thoughts, say hello, and hear what your thoughts are on National Business Etiquette Week. And so, one of the things that I wanted to discuss is the hospitality, because your professional advantage really comes from your ability to make people feel warm and welcome. And that is what Rob does so well, is he pays attention to the details and he lets people feel welcome. He has a great co-working space here with event centers, and he's got conference rooms. And when he comes here, one of the things that I loved about what he does here is that he really does a great job of hosting. And so when you host an event here, I noticed I've done some events here, and I've noticed that one of the things that he does well is he has glass plates, like real plates, real glasses, real silverware. And I love that because that just elevates the experience a little bit more. I mean, we're all used to paper and plastic, but he does such a great job of pulling out the nice stuff, and it makes you feel really special. And so when you have lunch catered in, he'll come bringing the plates in and the silverware, which that makes such a difference when you are a guest and you see somebody has gone the extra mile to make you feel special. It matters. And so being a great host means planning ahead, paying attention, and making sure that you're thinking of all of your guest needs. And so you've paid attention to the details, and using real glass, real plates, real silverware is one way to really elevate the experience that people have when they are attending one of your events. The second thing that he does really well is that he has a great coffee machine in there, and he says, "This is the coffee machine." He has a popcorn machine in there, so it always smells good when you come in. And you can come and have popcorn. He's got filtered water, which really tastes great. And so he says, help yourself to coffee or popcorn or some fresh water served in a real glass, which makes it feel extra special. So it's warm and accommodating. And so when you are hosting an event, your host duties really are responsible. You're responsible for making sure that you pay attention to the details that will make your guest feel comfortable. And so with that too, there are a lot of things that we talk about with host duties. So planning, if you're serving food, think about what kind of food you're serving and think about allergies. If you have an opportunity to ask or say, what food allergies should I be aware of? That's a good way to, because a lot of people don't eat the wheat, don't have gluten. There's some dairy people that are dairy free out there. There are people out there who don't eat meat. And there are some people out there who only eat meat. And so it's nice to know if you have any restrictions or allergies out there that you need to be aware of so that you can plan so that everybody has a great opportunity to have a meal and to feel satisfied when they left. You don't have to feel full, but you have to feel, I think, satisfied, because you want your guest to not leave hungry or not feel like they were left out because you didn't think about that. And I also, encourage people, when you are taking clients out to dinner or to lunch and you are responsible for planning that, to choose a restaurant that has a wide variety of food options, because you never know what allergies somebody may have. And so if there's a wide choice there, then there's something for everyone. But if you even if you're going to a steak house, and somebody is, say, vegan, and so you could then call ahead and say, "Hey, I'm having a meal there. I'm bringing some guests in. There is somebody in our group that is vegan," and the restaurant will be able then to accommodate them if they know in advance. But if you give them warning, but if you show up and then say, "Oh, we need vegan menu," then it is going to be more difficult for them to accommodate that, because they didn't plan for it, because they have to order the right foods. So most restaurants are very accommodating, but it is your responsibility as the host to say, I need this menu, or to ask, so that your guests feel welcome. The second thing that I wanted to talk about today is guest responsibilities. I got the wrong one up there. Guest responsibilities. And if you are invited somewhere, it is your responsibility to accept or decline the invitation. That is so important, because if somebody is planning an event, they need to know if you're going to be there, especially if there is food that's going to be accounted for. And so RSVP and let them know. And in today's world, that may look like, if you're going to an event on Eventbrite, even if it's a free ticket, go ahead and get the free ticket, because that then lets the host know who is coming, and they can plan for the proper size room. They can plan for the proper amount of food that they need to have. So I was at an event this week, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was a miscommunication or what happened, but we had double the amount of people show up at an event that then RSVP'd. And the host was trying to be very accommodating, because he was trying to say, "Come on in. We want you here. Welcome." We were doing everything we could, because I was kind of helping out with this, and we were doing everything we could to make sure that our guest felt warm and welcome. But what happened was, the room was too small for the amount of people, and there wasn't enough food. And so the restaurant you could see the stress levels on their faces, because they were like, "We don't have enough food prepared. We weren't prepared for this. We could have had you in a larger room." So we were trying to bring in extra seats and extra tables, and it was just a little bit stressful. But we wanted to, as hosts, make everybody feel warm and welcome, even though people were showing up over an hour late to the restaurant, and it was a luncheon. And so we don't really know if it was a miscommunication or what, because when that many people show up, that there's got to be something there, but we didn't know. But just think about that when you are going to meetings. If you're going super late, you might want to send a text message, or let somebody know that you're going to be that late, to find out if it's okay, because you don't want to put people under stress, because people really want to accommodate you. So think about that when you are coming late to an event, and make sure that you let people know that you are going to be late. And here's Rob. Come on in. He made it. I told them that you were in a meeting and that you would join us.
I am so sorry. Okay. I am so sorry that meeting got started late, but here I am.
Well, we are glad you are here. And we were talking just about I'm talking today about guest and host duties, because we're winding up National Business Etiquette Week. And so I wanted to do it here with you, because you are the host with the most. I mean, he just does such a great job. And we were talking about you're serving real dishes. Like, if people cater lunch in, you have real plates, and you'll come here's the real plates, here's the real silverware, here's the real glasses. What was your thought process behind that when you started the meeting place and you wanted to elevate that experience?
I mean, really, with all the networking I've done, so people just took the networking too casual. And so they didn't put the effort into it.
Yeah.
And we always talk about, we're supposed to be professional.
Yeah.
Give that first impression. And then we bring in the plastic cups, the paper cups, the plastic forks and knives. Yeah. And I just said, no, I'm not going to do that. I am a professional.
Yeah.
I want to give out that good first impression. And then you
Yes.
do the real stuff, right? I
Yeah.
got, the linen napkins, real good silverware, china plates, real glasses, that
Yes,
type of thing.
it matters. It does make such a difference because it makes you, and that's what I was saying earlier, it makes you feel like you're a little bit elevated, like you're in like you said, professional, but it makes your guest feel special.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can feel that the difference when I'm have real silverware versus the plastic.
Yeah.
You feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
And it's those little things again that we talk about being professional that
Mhm.
makes us stand out in the
Yeah.
crowd, and it's giving that extra effort,
Yes.
doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Not just casual. I think we get too much. It's so casual, and no, we got to, like you say, we need to elevate that.
Yes. And so why would that be important? And so as we're talking about etiquette and being professional, why is that important? Because it makes you stand out in a positive way. And so here's what happens. Because I also talked about your popcorn, your filtered water. You have the best water in town, and the coffee where you're like, here, this is, come have some coffee, come have popcorn, have a snack, because you want people to feel at home.
Yes.
And welcome. And so why is that important? Because what happens is his business is growing so fast because he stands out in a positive way, because he welcomes people in and says, here's snacks, here's a seat, grab a seat. Even if you are here just for a day, you're just stopping by and you're not even really a member,
Right.
He says, come on in, grab a seat, an open seat, work here, you can use the Wi-Fi, and he makes you feel welcome. So what happens is his business is exploding. And so you've already expanded one time.
Right. We're looking at our second expansion.
In a year, in less than a year.
Yeah.
And so that is what happens when you put your best foot forward. That's why it's important for you to always think about how you look, which includes, are you dressed appropriately for your job? And that doesn't mean you always have to wear a suit. Jeans are fine. Matter of fact, you've got on jeans right now,
right?
Because he is a host of the meeting place. And so it's fine. But you don't always have to wear the suit, but you have to be dressed appropriately. And so are you clean? Have you thought about this? We talked with Alyssa Ellis day before yesterday, about your outfits and how you can coordinate to put it together. But then it's how you treat people. And I think you do a great job of the Maya Angelou's quote, it's how you make them feel. People will remember that. And I think that is why your business is exploding. And I mean, I think, and I don't know this, and this is off the cuff, we're live, but I think you're going to end up taking over this whole floor eventually.
I hope so. But again, Julie, the whole thing is I want to help people. That's our mission here at the meeting place. And we want to make the resources here available to people that, again, if they can't, and if they're in that startup mode, shoestring budget, they can't afford a membership yet, we'll give them the limited free pass. We want them to have access to these resources and have an honor system where they can start paying when they want to. But this place is available to my networking community. Rob's library, the Zen room, a place to come and just get out of the house and work for a while. That type of thing. And that's, again, I think where I get for instance, Larry Roberts,
He's here today.
Yeah, he's here today.
But
what I learned from him was, again, in branding, you've got to stand out in the crowd. Yeah. And that's why we do these special things at the meeting place, is that we want to create our brand. Yeah. And we want to be a valuable resource for our networking community. We want to give back. Yeah. And when you give back, you get it back.
Yes. 100%. And that's the philosophy. What you put out into this world comes back to you really threefold.
Absolutely.
And you're a prime example of that. So you touched on a couple of things too that I haven't talked about yet about being a great host and making people feel special. And that is, you have Rob's library. Mm-hmm. Talk about that, because that is, you can see behind, this is Traction, EOS we're in their room. We're using their room today. But he's got this here. here, but in the event center and spread out throughout the entire place, he's got bookshelves with all kinds of books on them. Talk about that a little bit.
I love the library because again, it's kind of like my mentors. There's so much knowledge and wisdom. You think about a special book that you have, and that author spent hours and hours and hours researching it.
Right.
And we get to read it in 2 or 3 hours and absorb all this information. That I wanted to create this resource again, that we've got close to 1,500 business books. And in the Zen room, we have over 150 books on Zen and New Age kind of spirituality and those type things. But you can come to the meeting.
Stress relief.
Yeah, you can come to the meeting place, get your free library card, sign books in and out. And again, it's so important to read. Readers are our leaders. And again, the opportunity to just get more knowledge. So yeah, I love the fact that that we at the meeting place, we give everyone access to Rob's library.
Yeah, and I love that too, because you always have to be growing and learning something. And there's, I mean, just looking around here at the library, there's just tons of books. He said 1,500.
Yeah, close to 1,500.
Wow. And he has a big room in there. That's an event center where he hosts lots of events. And on the top shelf are local authors. So for people that are in the Dallas area that have written books, he features them on the top shelf of all of that. So we can see all of the people in your networking group and people who come here that have written books.
Yeah. And if I can highlight, Julie, is the fact that too, is that we love local authors. We support local authors, and we give them the stage and the event center at no charge for one time. So they can have a book launch, they can have a workshop one time. Yeah. We'll help them promote their book. Right. And so anyone that out there that got a book, please come by the meeting place.
Right. Well, I mean, and I think you're beginning to see that hosting is an important part of your brand, and it really elevates your professional image. And so Eileen McDonald is with us today. Eileen, we're so glad you're here. She says she loves the Zen room, and it's so fun. But when you go in there, you've got the sound of water trickling, and it's very calming. And if you are having a stressful day, it is a good place just to go sit and just listen to the water. He's got in the light fixtures, he's got the clouds up there, and it's just kind of a calming place. I know last time, as a matter of fact, this is interesting. Last time that I was here on a Friday, I was leaving here to go give blood, because I like to give blood regularly. And so you said, well, you need to go to the Zen room before you go give blood. Calm down, de-stress, get rid of the day. And it's so funny because guess where I'm going today? I'm going to make blood again today.
Well, okay, well, you got to go to the Zen room.
I'll go to the Zen room then and calm down and de-stress so that won't come through in my blood.
That's right.
We'll get rid of all of that. So, no, but it is so important to be a good host and to know how to bring people in and make them feel good. Edith Duarte, thank you so much for joining us. She says, I'm loving this conversation. I'm a Dallas Magazine publisher. I'll have to come by. Please do.
Oh, please do. Absolutely. Please.
Yeah. This is such a welcoming place for anyone who needs to get out. And I'll tell you this too. I was so glad I was coming today here because we're getting a new roof. And so outside there is banging and there's voices and things falling off the roof. And so it's really nice to say, I have a place to go where I can have some quiet time. I can get some popcorn, some good water. I can see friends. Like I ran into Larry Roberts here today, and there's always people here to make me feel warm and welcome. So it's really great to have a place to go and to have the host. The other thing that I talked about a little bit before you came in was guest responsibilities. And so I was sharing a story that I was part of an event this week where we had more than double the people show up than we knew that were coming. And we weren't really sure if it was miscommunication or whatever, but it was at a restaurant. It was at noon. And so as the host, and I was kind of helping out with the host, we were wanting everyone to come in and we were trying to make everybody feel comfortable, but we put the restaurant a little bit on edge because they didn't have food prepared.
Oh my gosh.
And so, finally the host was like, it doesn't matter if it's not something we didn't order, whatever you have in the kitchen that you can prepare quickly, bring it out. I mean, we want to be able to give them some food. But, to not know that you were coming or that you were coming late, because some people came over an hour late. But we understood. And we're like, look, we couldn't get off work. There were storms. They were driving, and so there were all kinds of reasons, logistical reasons to be late to the meeting. But the fact that we were just trying to accommodate, but kind of put a little bit of stress on us. So if you could call ahead, let people know, hey, I'm in storm, I'm coming, then we could have a seat at the table prepared for you. And I think that's the main thing, is that what are you seeing with people attending events and things with food?
Well, we had a case example here where someone had, rented one of the rooms, and they had it was catered and had a really nice. And it was, you could just tell, there was probably about 20 people, and, it looked like a good amount of food, but not a ton that you see sometimes. And so the first 3 people that went through the line, they just piled their plates on, and it was piled. I went, oh my God, if people do that, there's not going to be anything left.
I've been in situations like that too, where there's a big event and they order food, because you have to think, there's so much food per person, and the first people that go by take more than their share, and then the people at the end of the line don't get to eat. And so that is a host worst nightmare, is to have people leave and they didn't get to eat anything. And so that's a bad. One of the things that I always like to say is, make sure that, especially if you're going through, take a little bit so that there's enough for everyone. If there's leftovers and you can go back, right. But make sure that everybody gets to go through the line first, because that's I think that's a big guest responsibility. RSVPing, calling if you're going to be late, let somebody know if you're going to be late, and then make sure that you don't take more than your fair share of food.
Yeah, I mean, those are great. I mean, that's why I love what you're doing here with this business etiquette, because I'm a good example where I kind of screw up. I've got one of those brains that's always kind of going all the time. I need those reminders. I need to know what my responsibilities are. I need to be held accountable. So this is a great what you're doing. I love it, because again, it's helping me become a better person, become a better guest. And that's important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah. I mean, it just, I think these are all great reminders of what we can do to show up better. Hey, Larry, I'm so glad that you're joining us today. He says, don't judge me. Man's got to eat when he can. You have good etiquette, Larry, and you know it.
I'm watching you, Larry.
He's probably in there getting an extra bag of popcorn right now as we're speaking. So no, it was great. Great to these are all, I think, really good reminders, because I think the word etiquette oftentimes gets kind of, a bad rap, that it's old fashioned.
Right. There
you go. We're modern today. We don't need modern manners, or we don't need any of this. But really, it's just like you said, you have really put a focus on others, of providing a space where entrepreneurs can come to network, to have a space to work where it's quiet, or to be with other people, to get out of their surroundings, come to a new place, because with new places comes, new ideas and just motivation. And so you've really put a lot of thought into that. And so all of this, of you thinking, how can I provide a great space for people to come, has helped your business explode.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's, again, it's that rule. It's when you do help people, it will come back. And I stress that to the audience, is that, and that's what I love about networking.
Yeah.
Is that when you get to meet so many new people, and then you get to help them on their journey. And of course, with me, I'm in my 4th quarter. of my career.
Yep.
And now I want to give back. I
That's
want to
it.
help my community.
That's it.
So.
That's it. Yes. And I talked about that too.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth quarter, this is really where you have a chance to really make the impact and really impact people's lives in a positive way. And so I think you and I are on the same path there, because I like to do the same thing too, because we want to leave a lasting impact. And it's really about your legacy and how you'll be remembered, which is why this is called It's How You'll Be Remembered. And I think, Rob, that you will be remembered as somebody who did give back to the community, who helped people, who linked arms with others and said, come on, let's go. I'll go with you on this journey. And, you've got such a great attitude.
Well, thank you on that. But I want full transparency here is I really do want to kind of share my story very briefly is that the fact
go ahead. Take
that, I did not do this early in my career. So what I'm doing right now has been in the latter part, in the fourth quarter. And it was because of surrounding myself with people like you and Cheryl Powers and Tony Caruso and so on, that I'm seeing that these people have done this their whole career, and I felt so bad. But I was that struggling entrepreneur. I'm working 24/7
in the weeds,
and all that kind of. And I just didn't do it. But about 4 years ago, I met Grace Spees from the president of the Farmers Branch Chamber, and she kind of told me her story, and I went, and she was only like probably mid-30s, late 30s, and she had done all this already, and I went, oh my gosh. And so I was so thankful for that, because then that just, the light bulb went off. I said, I've got to make this commitment. And what a joy these last 4 or 5 years of giving back. So again, the lesson here is, it's never too late.
Never.
It's never too late. We can always help people. And I was, so thankful for that.
Yeah, you and I aligned so much on that, because I feel the same way too. I spent a career teaching, and I was really working with middle school students, which is what really gave me a thick skin, because, I really can't be offended because I worked with middle school students. They just kind of say what pops in their head, but they were so lovable. They just were adorable. But then when I realized that it was the interpersonal skills, it's your soft skills. It's that companies hire etiquette consultants to come in and work with their people. And it's not just about dining etiquette, although that is really important, because when you go to a meal, you got to at least know what fork to use, and what the place setting looks like. But it's also the etiquette has so much about communication, the emails, how to email, and how to pick up the phone is a good one too. And so there's just so many things that cover the soft skills. Eileen says she loves Grace. So good. I'm glad that she that you know her. I don't know Grace.
Oh yeah, she was incredible.
I should know her.
Yeah.
I think I should meet her. So this is, we're winding up the National Business Etiquette Week, and we've had so many wonderful people come on and share their stories about all things etiquette. And it's all about different parts of etiquette. I mean, it just covers so much. It's not an old-fashioned idea.
No, absolutely.
It really is your advantage. It's your secret sauce. It is what makes people like you. It's what makes people trust you and want to do business with you. And you're living proof of that.
And you attract the right people that you want to be around.
Absolutely.
Too,
Absolutely.
So if people don't want to get into that thing, well, they're lost.
Yeah. Right. So it's just about how you put your best foot forward. And so thank you for joining us today. And Rob, thank you for letting me come in today and do this with you. Thanks for participating.
Thank you for having me. This has been, you'll be able to share that to your audience, and I invite them to come down to the meeting place and check out Rob's library and the Zen room and take advantage of our limited free day pass.
Yeah. I mean, this is such a great space. And if you're a networker, if you want to get out of your home office and you want a place to go that has great people up here working and where you can brainstorm ideas and feel welcome and be a part of this hospitality that he really has mastered, come on down. It is a great, great space to be. So thank you for joining us. I know that he was running from one meeting to another. Poor guy. I mean, I feel like you're just running crazy.
Loved it though. Wouldn't have missed it. Loved it.
Thank you. Thanks for
so
making
much.
time for me.
You bet.
And thank you for sharing all the days with us this week on National Business Etiquette Week. We will see you next Tuesday.